In this video, we are going to talk about conditional statements. Your scripts often need to make decisions and perform different logic based on those decisions. This is what I mean by conditional execution. You have one statement or value to evaluate, then execute a different section of code based on that evaluation. This is exactly what the if statement does. Here is a basic example of the if statement. The first thing the if statement does is evaluate the expression in the braces. If the result of the evaluation is true, then it executes the script block. Script block in PowerShell is defined by curly braces. The script block is a block of the code that can be executed later, and we're going to talk about it more later. If the value was false, then it would skip over that script block that comes after this condition. In the example, the if statement is evaluated and the condition variable is true. And as you see, the write host command let inside the script block is executed. You can write it as a single line of code, but once again, readability is very important. Now, sometimes the if statement is just not enough to describe the logical conditional, and we may use the else condition. If the result of the evaluation is false, the script block that comes after else will be executed. And if the conditional logic equals the Boolean true, the script blocks after the condition is executed. Of course, in real life, we are going to be doing a nesting of if and else statements under other if statements. But this is still not enough to describe all of our logical conditions. This is where ElseIf statements come in. Instead of nesting if statements, we can chain if and else statements together. There is no limit to else-if statements, and we can place them between if and else how many we need. If you can see, we have if statement and a chain of ElseIf statements, and if one of the conditions matches the other script blocks will be skipped. Let's see a different example of if-else-if statement. In this example, we use the getDateCMDlet with a format parameter. This means this CMDlet will return us a date in a specific format. The double capital H means we want to receive hours in the format of 24 hours. Then we start our if statement. And the first condition asked if this variable of the hour is greater or equal to 6 and if the same variable is less than 9. If the evaluation of both is true, so we have true inside the if condition. Otherwise, it will be false. And we'll continue to another else if condition and so on till we get to the true. And the true condition will evaluate its script block. This is something that you'll usually do in PowerShell. All of this is pretty nice and good. But if your value should match a few conditions to execute a few script blocks, you'll need to write many if conditions with extra variables to make this logic work. So here comes a switch statement to help us. The switch has a few modes, but for now, we need to catch basic. We write switch following the input variable inside parentheses. Below it, we place a script block that should condition statements and the script blocks. The statement can be a string that matches the input value or other script block. Yes, this can be a little bit confusing. Let's see the simple example first, and then I'll show a more difficult one. In this example, we see the input value variable that equals the string banana. When we run the code on our switch statement, it checks if the value actually matches the condition. If it does, the script block will be executed, and the switch will check each of the options. If multiple matches will be, multiple scripts blocked will be executed. In this example, we will use the number. Now in this switch, we're writing each condition as a script block, which will evaluate a modulo operation on the input value. If the evaluation of the condition returns true, we are executing its script block. Let's execute this switch statement and see what console output we'll get. As you can see, multiple conditions were matched and multiple lines were written. Now we'll change the number and execute it again. We can write it alternatively by relying on the matching. like to make the input value as a Boolean true, and each condition will be used the number variable. It's correct too. Switches are usually used for more complex tasks, like data parsing, so you will not see them in simple scripts, but it is very good to know them. And of course, as usual, please share us with your colleagues and subscribe. And do practice everything that we are talking about in those videos.